I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap
He don't want
circles
no
around.
smoke. He enjoying that 150 million, 200 million he done
Okay
made.
then, so then leave me alone while I'm on the field.
You was effing with him. He wasn't bothering you.
Came into light and started going crazy that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them. Some of them know. But
You know what I mean?
A lot
Like,
of them know.
Yo, honestly, I can't, like, if it was like Jim Jones, imagine putting a pen to paper to write about him. He was so nice. He was so nice about him. How did you do that? What's the first sentence? What the fuck do you write about him? I'm not anxious to hear the Jim Jones diss record. Like, I'm like, yo. The used to have so nervous was like B.I.G., Pop, right? Even Cannabis, like Eminem, used to have you like, if we go at it, dog, we gotta go hard. You know what I'm saying? But Jim Jones, like, I mean, I respect you getting your money. You're like, exactly, right?
And then boom, everything flipped. 50 Cent didn't fire back with a diss track or even call anyone out by name. Nope. He just dropped a dusty old federal transcript on Instagram like it was nothing, and let the streets connect the dots. Now fans are on full detective mode, pulling up wiretap recordings, dragging out forgotten footage, and meanwhile, Jim's out here in the gym, talking tough and hyping up diss tracks like he's training for lockdown at Rikers.
Wesley Jim, you smoke, right?
Yeah.
Were you smoking when you said you better than Nas?
I might have been a little.
But make no mistake, this ain't just about Nas, and it's definitely not some petty ego trip. This move from 50 feels way deeper, like he's sending a quiet but deadly reminder to the whole game. He's untouchable. And some folks, they didn't just beat the case, they swerved indictments like ghosts. Jim might have lit the fuse just to prove a point, but now it's looking like he woke up a sleeping giant. Every time Jim Jones brings up Nas, it always comes with tension. And it's not random. There's serious history here. This ain't no generational shade tossed out for fun. This beef traces all the way back to 2002, when Nas went wild on Hot 97 with a rant, out of nowhere calling Cameron's album whack with zero warning, no reason, no filter. That single jab, enough to set Dipset on fire. Jim dove straight in, no hesitation. After that, it turned real ugly. Nas and Dipset started trading shots through mixtapes, and Jim took things personal real fast. He even said he'd smack the kufi off Nas. He didn't let up either. That same raw energy followed him into tracks like We Fly High. This was way beyond music beef. And here's where things start to get even more twisted. Jim used to admire Nas, seriously. Just a year ago, he had nothing but respect. He even said, I never got to sit down and have a conversation with Nas. That was one of the people I never got to talk to. You could hear the admiration in his voice. It wasn't about hate, it was about missed moments, about not connecting with someone he clearly looked up to in the game. But then came the twist. Jim didn't just say he was more relevant, he made it sound like he was more influential than Nas.
Start buying baggy your clothes, big fella.
Nah,
You
hey.
too big, man.
You talk about you in the gym. Now you want to get me? You want me to see me in the gym?
Oh, we could do
Since
that.
you like to talk that ish, now come see
anytime.
me in the gym.
We talking about
Come
working
see
out.
me in the
What
gym.
we talking about? Working out or strength?
Working
What we
out.
talking about? Working out or strength?
Work however you want to do it.
We talking about
Since
work,
you got money,
if we talking about
put
working
your money
out,
where
I
your
burn
mouth
you.
is.
What you got? So you talking about working
Run
out? I
them
burn
stacks.
you. You talking about working out? I burn you. You talking about working out or strength? Because you probably can lift a lot more than me.
Whatever.
You're bigger than me. You're probably stronger than me.
Whatever.
But if you talk about working out, you talking about working out, I burn you.
This ain't what you do. This ain't what you want. You
Hold
are doing
on,
good when
you
you
better
talking
go-
about Nas
you
and
better go to my
Jada.
IG.
You don't
You
want to
better-
see
you better
this.
check-
We're talking about Nas here, the Queensbridge legend, the man behind Illmatic, God's Son, and King's Disease. A guy in his 50s who can still sell out Madison Square Garden without breaking a sweat. And Jim, he stood 10 toes down. No hesitation, no flinch. He meant every word. That interview didn't just stir the pot, it flipped the whole kitchen table and set the curtains on fire. And before the smoke even cleared, Jim was back again, this time on a whole new stage. He popped up on Nightcap with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Ochocinco Johnson, ready to stand on his comments and make even bigger waves. Shannon, he wasn't playing either. He opened the convo strong, not letting Jim coast. But it's what Jim said next that made fans pause the whole episode to rewind and rewatch. It hit that hard. And just when it looked like he was done comparing legacies, Jim dropped one more take. Bold, wild, and straight from left field. Jim started dragging up that old school Dipset versus Nas beef from way back in the early 2000s.
Bro, you been at this thing, but lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah,
Y'all
but look
ain't
how you
effing with
dress.
Nas.
Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in. And the
But
things
I-
that we listen to.
I can be in the church house. You can't F with Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, I know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas.
He even claimed he was a bigger Nas fan back then, but somehow had passed him up in terms of impact. Then he got slick with it, throwing Nas some compliments on his fashion, calling him one of the flyest ever. But every time he circled back to the same line, Nas don't move the streets like I do. At that point, the energy shifted. Jim got salty. Out of nowhere, he started clowning Shannon Sharpe's fit, talking like he was hosting a fashion roast instead of a podcast. Ocho Cinco? He was just sitting back like a referee in a street brawl, watching these two go toe-to-toe, silent, but locked in. Then came the moment that broke the internet. Jim threw shade and claimed Shannon only invited him on for views. That was it. UNC snapped. This the biggest podcast you ever been on. Shannon clapped back with zero hesitation. But then Shannon did a full switch-up. He wasn't just hosting no more. He turned into a rival. If Jim wanted smoke, Shannon was more than ready to meet him in the gym. And when Jim said he was better than Nas, Shannon didn't just laugh it off. He challenged the whole man. Not just the music, the muscle too. Instead of responding to 50 Cent's slick moves, Jim tried to flip the narrative and make it about a workout battle. He wanted to flex in a new lane, showing he still had pull, still had presence. But while Jim was lost in gym theatrics and puffing his chest, 50 had already made his real move, behind the scenes. And that mysterious label situation, still sitting there in the background like a loaded gun on the table. Fans in the comments were going nuts. The internet couldn't believe what they were watching. A retired NFL Hall of Famer now riding for Nas harder than most rappers. One fan even said, Shannon did what Fat Joe and Jadakiss should have done. Jones, you delusional. Shaw, thank you for calling it out. Straight facts. And while everyone else was caught in the chaos, 50 Cent, he was chilling in the shadows, clocking every move. But just when people thought it couldn't get messier, boom! Fans dug up a clip that flipped the whole thing petty. That was the ultimate slap in the face. Jim didn't just get ignored by Nas back in the day, he got laughed off the stage. And now in 2025, that same vibe is back in full force.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than
It don't
Nas.
matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Nobody,
Ain't all in your,
ain't
all in
nobody
your
from
filth.
Dipset gonna take
Shannon,
you
that
over
shirt-
Nas. And
that
nobody
shirt
from the
too-
Diplomats
that
but
shirt-
you.
That shirt too tight.
Hold on,
That
Jim,
shirt
hold on.
too tight. That shirt too
Hold on,
tight.
hold on.
That shirt
Jimmy,
too tight. You want to go back to I really mean it? I really mean it started. We could go back to
but I
the
just
history,
said,
bro.
for you to even
Don't do
say
that.
But things didn't cool off. Not even close. While Nas stayed silent and Shannon was hitting the gym like a man on a mission, someone else was watching from the cut, real quiet. Soon as 50 Cent caught wind of Jim claiming he was better than Nas, he didn't get mad. He just grinned. Then he dipped into that bottomless vault of receipts he's got stashed away, pulled out some old ammo, and reignited one of the wildest rumors in hip-hop history. He didn't even say much, just dropped a post calling Jim Individual One. And the internet went wild. Because if you know, you know. Individual One ain't just a nickname. It's a straight-up federal label pulled from a 2018 wiretap in the infamous Tekashi 66999 Trey trial. Prosecutors played a phone call in court where someone, allegedly Jim, was giving orders to violate Tekashi for flipping on the gang. Jim's name wasn't said in court, but the feds labeled him as Individual One. His voice? Never officially confirmed. Charges? None. But in the streets, blogs, and especially in 50 Cent's eyes, that moment never disappeared. It's been hanging like a cloud. And now that Jim's out here puffing up on every podcast throwing shots at Nas, 50 saw the perfect chance to reheat the drama and remind everyone who's got real dirt on deck. He even went back to his Instagram vault and reposted a meme he once had deleted real quick. The one that said, "So that's why they ain't pull him in. Say it ain't so, Jimmy." And if that wasn't enough, let's rewind to 2019, when the Shade Room posted updates from Tekashi's court case. A verified courtroom reporter said flat out that Tekashi named Jim Jones as a 9 Trey member on the stand. Aimbada? he couldn't help himself. Jumped right in and left a comment that stirred the pot even more. Then came the infamous clip, 50 looking around like he'd seen a ghost, eyes wide, straight shook. The internet ate it up. He literally wrote, "I'm afraid for my life," adding, "Jimmy is gang gang." The internet lost it, memes flying, jokes non-stop. But while folks were laughing, Jim, he was twitching. That hit different. But this is where the whole story starts spiraling. See, 50 Cent didn't start this beef over Nas. He's been holding smoke for Jim for years. And now, Jim gave him the perfect excuse to start dragging him again.
No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record, then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries, then check all them entries and and I'm not taking nothing away from nobody. But I hear the comparisons and then be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit about the industry. I've been putting on.
Back in 2007, things already got messy. 50 pulled a bold move, bringing out Jim Jones and Jules Santana during a G-Unit show, right when Dipset was falling apart behind the scenes. Cameron took that as straight-up disrespect. It was like adding salt to a bullet wound. Then in 2019, during that infamous Tekashi 6X99 federal trial, Jim got tagged in a wiretapped call, labeled Individual 1. No official charges, but the internet wasn't about to let that name slide. The snitching rumors exploded, and now 50's out here posting non-stop. Jim saw every single one. At first, he played it cool, dropped an old-school Bird Gang photo dripping in Dipset glory. The caption, "Why you keep lying? LOL. I'm going back to sleep. Free Mel Matrix till it's reversed." That wasn't just nostalgia. It was a message, a shot at 50, suggesting he was crafting a fake narrative, living in his own fantasy world. But Jim wasn't done. He jumped right back in with a Jim Flex post captioned, "Somebody tell Shannon Sharpe, don't start ducking this challenge now. You gonna talk like a podcaster or walk what you talk? My sneakers tied. You already called me out in front the world. Might as well finish the job, champ." Then he added more heat. Ocho said he don't want to do it in public. Fine, let's do it in private. I know his rep as an athlete's on the line. Just make sure you're the witness. We don't duck no challenges. Size don't matter where I'm from, run it. So while 50 was throwing jabs from the shadows, Jim was acting like he was lacing up for a street brawl. And just to stir things even more, he threw this wild post. "If you 40 and up arguing with me about Nas, you already lost." He followed up with, "Y'all fell for the bait. Every time Mel goes viral, my streams shoot up. I'm teaching y'all older artists a lesson in marketing. You stuck in yesterday, mad at how the game works today. Tighten up." Then came the knockout caption, "I said what I said. P.S. I'll wrap circles around any artist from my era. Whoever dares to step in the booth, bring money with you. This game ain't free. We outside, in the field. Take that how you want. We working daily." Meanwhile, Nas never said a word. Not a single bar, not a single tweet, nothing. He stayed cool, unbothered. But Jim kept baiting, kept poking, kept screaming for smoke while still claiming he's more influential. If Nas ever decided to jump in, this wouldn't be just a diss, it'd be a lyrical execution. Fans have started calling it out. Jim's reaching, Nas is chilling, and 50, he's pulling all the strings from deep in the shadows. And here's the scary part. If that unreleased wiretap is real, Jim might have just talked himself into something way bigger than a rap beef. Cause while he's posting, rapping, and flexing, 50's been dead quiet. And when 50 gets quiet, that's when the bomb drops. So the real question now is, will Nas finally step in and shut it all down with bars? Or will 50 let the streets handle Jim and leak the truth when there's no way out? Don't miss a second of the madness. Like, share, and subscribe to JuicyScoopTV, where the drama never sleeps.